Here's a little cheat sheet that people can use to try and determine whether or not they're being fooled by people who claim they can predict earthquakes. This is a contour map of the entire world that shows the frequency of occurrence of magnitude 4.5 or greater earthquakes throughout the world. This illustration here shows the contours of earthquakes that happen once every 16 days. I've put these two images together in a PDF file, and I'll share the link below that anyone can grab and use, and I recommend that anybody who's interested in double checking the work of others who claim they can predict earthquakes use this to determine whether or not these people are telling the truth. If an earthquake occurs anywhere in a contoured region here, that earthquake happens way too frequently to be considered predictable. You'll notice over here in the Japan area that it covers practically all of Japan. Anybody who claims to be able to predict magnitude 4.5 earthquakes in this region, they're not really predicting anything, because you can't separate the occurrence frequency of those earthquakes from chance. Same thing with Indonesia and New Zealand and South America and Italy. So anywhere that anyone predicts earthquakes inside these contoured areas cannot count as a prediction, because the earthquakes that occur there occur too frequently. You can't separate them from chance, especially if the prediction is 7 days or longer. For example, if we zoom in here and look at the Central American coast, or even the South American coast here, you can see that magnitude 4.5 or greater earthquakes happen in the green contoured area once every 5.8 days. In the yellow contoured areas, they occur every 11 days. If your prediction spans 7 days and they happen every 5 days, that's not a prediction. You're just using statistics to your advantage. This is what most of the so-called forecasters of earthquakes use right now, especially those on YouTube who don't know any better. They're preying on people not to know this information. They're preying on people not to understand that earthquakes happen in some areas very frequently, especially over here in the Japan region and the New Zealand region, where they happen incredibly frequently. So I'm making the PDFs of these images available for anyone to download and use, and I recommend that people who listen to those who claim to be able to predict earthquakes, such as Dutchsinse, or Suspicious Observers, or any of the others out there, I recommend that you have these maps printed out and in front of you as you watch these people talk about and review the earthquakes and their predictions. And if they predict an earthquake anywhere inside these zones, you can rest assured that it's not really a prediction, especially if their prediction period is for a week or 2 weeks. So use it, share it, I don't care, as long as it's used to help dispel the myths that earthquakes are predictable. They are not predictable. Not yet, at least. They happen too randomly, and if you need proof of that, watch this. This is all of the earthquakes over the last 24 hours or so, in the order that they occurred, and you tell me whether or not these are predictable. Is there a pattern here, or are they random? They're very random. Very, very random. You cannot predict when one earthquake is going to happen. It's ridiculous. So use the PDFs that I've created, share them with whoever you like, have them in front of you when you're listening to these people who claim they can predict earthquakes, and see for yourself if they're predicting earthquakes in these zones where they happen so frequently or not. And if they are, then they're not really predicting anything. They're just using statistics to their advantage. One last comment. It seems like whenever I post a video about Dutchsinse or others who are misleading people, that their supporters get on my channel and start bad-mouthing me and claiming that I'm out to lunch. And yet, I'm providing them with factual information, whereas the other people out there have not yet, to my knowledge, ever provided any factual information like this. This is factual information. This is derived from 10 years of earthquake information. Before you open your mouth, consider getting some evidence first, so that what you say actually has some meat. I'm perfectly willing to have a discussion with people, but not if all they're going to say is, "You suck." What I'm doing is preventing people from being misled. People who mislead in society are not the greatest human beings when they do it knowingly. And if they're presented with information that proves that they're actually not telling the truth and they fail to correct themselves, such as Dutchsinse has done repeatedly, well, those kinds of people really don't deserve to be listened to at all, do they? Unless they can provide supporting information, supporting facts, unless they can provide that kind of information, like I have done here, there's no point listening to them. Because if they can't support what they're saying, that'd be like going to a doctor and the doctor telling you, well, you have cancer, but we don't have proof of it. Let's be smart about this, and let's use facts to tell the truth. I don't personally dislike Dutch. I dislike what he's doing, but I don't personally dislike Dutch, the man. I don't personally dislike Suspicious Observers, or BP Earthwatch, or any of the other guys out there that I try to debunk. I don't dislike them as human beings. I dislike what they're doing. I dislike that they're trying to fool people to get more popular. I dislike that they're fooling people in order to make money that they can live off of. That is not good for society. And it's about time that people stood up and started saying enough. So that's what I'm doing. And I'm doing this factually. Every video I have done is factual. And if anyone wants to try and disprove me, go right ahead. Be my guest. That's what science is about. If I can be corrected, I will stand corrected, and I'll publicly say so, unlike others. So again, use this information to your advantage and help others understand that those people who are trying to predict earthquakes are really not predicting anything. They're just fooling themselves, and they're fooling everyone else in the process.